Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Data Standard Audio Experience. Today we have Chandra Khatri, the Chief Data Scientist and Head of AI at Nocode AI. And today we're speaking about the evolution of no-code AI. So welcome to the show, Chandra. I'm so excited to have you today.
Thanks, Catherine. I'm very excited about being part of this.
Yeah, we're excited to hear more about your insights and your experiences. So could you tell us more about your background and what led you to where you are today?
Yeah, so currently, as you pointed out, I'm the chief scientist and head of AI at Conversational AI. So I've been doing a lot of research and development work, taking state of the art research, which is publishable, to the scale of hundreds of millions of users. I've been doing that. So far, I've covered a couple of spaces. One is conversational AI, which I've been doing quite a lot for the past 3, 4, 5 years. I've also done substantial amount of this research and development to production for multimodal AI at Uber. And I've also done that. I've also built recommendation systems, search and recommendation systems at eBay before earlier. So right now, before Got It AI, I was at Uber. Before Uber, I was at Amazon Alexa. I was the founding member of Amazon Alexa AI, with actually being Alexa Prize. Alexa Prize is one of the state of the art conversational AI experiences which Amazon has built. And before that, I was at eBay. So that's my kind of trajectory where I've been doing a lot of deep learning, conversational AI, multimodal AI, and generally AI in general.
Yeah, that sounds super interesting. You've had a lot of different great experience to kind of pull from. Yeah, and so today the big topic is about no-code AI. So could you tell us more about what this is and how are different companies kind of using this just for their AI purposes to solve their problems?
Yeah. So no code AI is the new SaaS, but it's an experience. It's the new way of building applications which are based on AI. Kind of like SaaS when SaaS came up earlier, where software were being wrapped as a service. So AI now is being commoditized, where services are being built, and to access that complex or state of the art models, you don't need to write code. You don't need to actually dive deep and know about those things. You can actually use existing service or APIs or some kind of UI in which you don't need to really need to know exactly how this thing is working. So it's not like it's a black box per se, but it's about how much control you want to have on top of it. So let's say think about program managers, or there's so many startups these days who want to use AI, but not every one of them is an expert in AI per se, right? But AI as a field has grown enough, is mature enough now, that there are modules or wrappers or tools or libraries these days which encapsulate these complex deep learning models such as BERT, GPT-3, or big models with hundreds of millions of parameters, billions of parameters. It all can be packaged in a layer which can be used without you knowing how it works. So that's no code AI. Now, how it is being used, and where are we? Well, in the state, in the case of, if I were to talk about how it is evolving, where we are at. So essentially, the way it is being used, it's too early right now, or I will not say too early to not to be built. It's early days, meaning that there is no clear winner in this one. There are a couple of startups which are doing it. In fact, we are doing a lot of no code conversational AI with state of the art models, but mostly for conversational AI, not for computer vision or robotics or other domains. But for NLP and conversational AI, we are just killing it. So essentially, there are companies or organizations like these which are building these wrappers of no code AI, but mostly the general no code AI, that entire thing is yet to be built. There are people who are building it, but it's too early again from that point of view. But it will happen in the next 2, 3 years. We're going to see more of those. So that's one. And regarding how easy it is to use, I would say right now it's easy to get started with. But sometimes once you start consuming these services or consuming these products, customization is required. So that kind of customization is yet to be thought of. Currently, we have solved initial 40-50% of the problem by providing you the minimum building blocks with some customization, but not whole lot. So essentially, a lot of work is happening right now where people are adding more and more customization on top of it. So that people, end users who want to use it, can actually customize to their data sets, to their applications. They might want to change some parameters. They might want to add more features or more attributes. So those kind of things are happening right now. But we'll see more of that in the next 2, 3 years.
Yeah, and that's great to hear your insights for the years to come because this is a field that's always advancing and changing, especially with AI. Things are always changing with it. More companies are starting to get on this trend of using it as well. And can you tell us more about what do you think the conversational AI advancements will look like within the next couple of years as well?
Yeah, so for the conversational AI, I think one is no-code AI, as I mentioned, and we are heavily doing working in that direction. And another areas in conversational AI is happening is basically so far to build a conversational application requires you to provide lots and lots of annotation. So I can give an example of what a conversational AI system looks like so that people have background. So conversational AI system has three main parts, sometimes four, but there are three main parts. One is understanding what is said, because when we are saying conversation, there are two agents or two humans or maybe one robot and one human essentially, right? So two parties, two actors. So they're communicating for something. Let's say I call my insurance company and then I want them to provide me some service, and that insurance company can have a bot which is communicating with me. So we are communicating with an insurance bot to help me with the service. So that's the application, let's say. Now it's a communication between back and forth between user and a bot. To build this, so far has been done is historically is, as I was saying, there are three parts. So one part is to understand what user is saying. We call it natural language understanding. So bot needs to understand what user said. That's first part. Second part is, okay, now bot understands what user meant. Second question is, or second part is, now what should the bot act, or what action should bot take? So let's say if I call, say I want to upgrade my insurance service, then bot might ask, the action for the bot is to ask which service. So bot might ask, what service are you looking for, right? So that is the action. So that is the action. So that is called dialogue manager. And third part is called response. So the action part is usually in the databases. It is not interpretable. It's not like a language or meaningful sentence. So that action needs to be converted into a meaningful sentence. That's called NLG, natural language generation. So these are the three core components of any conversational AI application. So far what has been done is each of these tasks require lots and lots of data. Or dialogue manager and natural language generation, or NLG, they are still rules, but the intent part has been made model based. So that part is requires lots and lots of data. What is happening now is we are trying to minimize the data. So what the current trend or what is happening right now is to go from 1,000 examples to maybe 10 examples, maybe 5 examples. So that's called fine tuning. With models like BERT or GPT-3, you might have heard of Google models from Google like BERT, and Facebook has Roberta, and then T5, and then there's OpenAI GPT-3. So with these kind of models, you don't need thousands of examples. Maybe you just need few examples, right? 5, 10 examples. So that is a new trend, but using these large models and then minimizing the example so that your bot can understand with minimal data. So now think about, like, if I want to build a bot, and if I have to get 1,000 examples for thousands of scenarios, that is so much costly to me, right? And time consuming as well. And if there are errors, it's hard to find out. But if there are only 10 examples or 5 examples per se, in such case, it's very easy to manage, it's fast, cost effective, and also performance is better. It's better. So that is a new trend. That is a trend which is happening. So most of the conversational AI companies, they're adapting these things. But the futuristic trend is no code AI with this one plus model based dialogue manager and model based natural language generation. So as I said, the remaining two components, which is dialogue management and natural language generation, they are still rule based in most scenarios or most applications. That is becoming model based. So the future thing, or the thing which will happen in conversational AI, is model based fully, and second thing is less data, and the third thing is no code AI. All of it would be wrapped in no code AI, and that is what we are doing at Got AI.
Yeah, super interesting stuff. And so with no code AI, how does it work when selecting with training your model, and how do you know when to use what?
Yeah. So that's a great question. So for no code AI, the way it works is that, as I was saying, we can build pre-built models. So think of it like this: the way it would work in no code AI is that you will see domain specific models or application specific models. So let's say if you take an example of computer vision example, where the objective is to find, given an image, if it has a cat or a dog or a car and things like that. So what might happen is people or no code AI experts, they will build domain and application specific models. So let's say models for detecting faces, or models for detecting objects, or model for detecting motion. and models for detecting cars. So depending on the application, they will build models, and then so that customers don't have to, end users don't have to do a lot more fine tuning or customization during training. But it still might not cover all the scenarios. You can build domain specific models which will work, but will not give you the best performance. So to your point, how they can provide, how end users can provide their data, the way, or how customers can provide their data, the way it could work is they can upload their data, and then what we are building with Nocode AI, us and others, what they're doing is we are building wrappers. We are standardizing the process of training and retraining. Something like Google has this retraining or auto tuning or auto train, those kind of things. So we are also kind of wrapping things, as in, so that customer can upload their data and automatically train models are trained and updated. Given that customers are uploading their own data, we require some kind of annotations like training and test data. I mean, you can upload and then we can split training and test. We train on something and then we evaluate on test data. So essentially, finding the best model, how to find the best model, the way it works is you split your data into training and test. So once customer uploads their data, we split training and test. We train on the model on the training data, and then we evaluate on the unseen test data. And then we try many combinations. We can try deeper models. We can try different architectures like CNNs versus RNNs. We can try many such deep learning models with different parameters and see which one wins. The one which wins then is wrapped into an API and then is returned to the customer. So that's how it works. They can upload their data, but there's the customization currently involves them to upload data which is kind of which has annotation, so that we can find the best model for them.
Yeah, and I wanted to also kind of touch on the topic of multimodal AI. And could you tell us more about what this is and how is it really improving and advancing the tech space right now?
Yeah. So multimodal AI is around, as the name suggests, it's multiple modalities of input. And so let's say, right now Alexa isn't just speaker, it is just voice. But Alexa can be in the cars, which is happening right now. Alexa can be in TV, right? And Alexa can be robots. There could be robots who are, cleaning, or for example, Roomba. I mean, there could be robots who are assisting elderly people or people with assistants and stuff like that. So point thing is that Alexa can be everywhere, right? And similarly, so what's happening is you see modalities are changing. So if the modality, the input modality, or the way we are communicating with these AI systems is changing, it is going from voice, it is going from voice to vision. It might be going from voice to vision to navigation, because then robots have to drive, and robots, for example, cars, driverless cars. So once we have driverless cars, eventually, then it's more like an assistant which can speak with you, and then it can help you navigate wherever you want to go. So multi-modality, what it means is that you have different modalities of input, and with more modality, your performance improves and your experience becomes richer. So now connecting that with conversational AI. So one classic example which I give is, if I say, hey Alexa, play Harry Potter. So Harry Potter mean different things so let's say if I'm speaking to Alexa Echo, which is just speaker, then I might be referring to probably audiobook, because there's no screen. If there's a Fire TV, which is Alexa in Fire TV, if I say Alexa play Harry Potter, then probably I'm referring to movie. If there is a Kindle, if I say Alexa play Harry Potter, I'm probably referring to book in front of me. So depend, and then let's say if it's something else, it could be music as well. So I'm just saying that depending on the modality, AI systems will learn automatically what kind of experience you want. So with multi-modalities or multimodal AI models, what can happen is you get different kind of experiences, or more contextualized experiences. And with more contextualized experiences, you get a much better experience overall, because now AI knows what I want without me providing too much of information. It can learn. So that is a work which I kind of did as well heavily at Uber, and also before that at Alexa. So as you have more modalities, your experience tends to become better.
Yeah, definitely. And I wanted to also just touch with you on the future of the no code AI. How do you think it will look like within the next couple of years? Do you think more companies will be using this method, or just what are some changes that you see in the future?
Yeah, I think more and more companies will adapt. It will tend to become commoditized maybe in the next 5 years. But before that, there's too much work has to be done in this direction. Companies like Airtable came, which is building things on top of database. There are companies like ThoughtSpot recently, which is a conversational BI kind of company. They yesterday announced that they are building apps on top of databases. So essentially, the applications will consume AI or some kind of intelligence, which is wrapped up. So I would say wrapped up in just APIs or simple UI, as I mentioned earlier. So the future would be that it will become more and more standardized across different verticals and different applications. That's one. Second thing is it will become more and more simple to use. As a customer, if I want to use Nocode AI and want to upload my data that is not very smooth, it will become simpler with time in the next 2, 3, 4 years. And then the third thing comes up is more powerful. As you tend to see that currently most of the Nocode AI are simple scenarios, not very, very complex. They are complicated from what we had 5 years ago or a couple of years ago. So it is still powered by state of the art models, but it will become even better. So essentially it's like the experience will get richer and richer. So it's gonna grow vertically. That means the experience will become better with more features, and then it will grow horizontal, meaning that we will see more and more applications across multiple domains, from healthcare to finance to banking and e-commerce. You will see all over the place. So that is the two areas which I see: horizontal growth and vertical growth.
Yeah, definitely. And I wanted to say thank you so much, Chandra, for joining us today. It was such a pleasure to have you. Where can everyone find you online to connect?
So I'm very active on LinkedIn, most active on LinkedIn. I'm also on Twitter. Recently, I've been blogging as well, more of it. I'm very active on LinkedIn. I would say if you want to reach out to me, just reach out to me on LinkedIn.
Yeah, perfect. And to our audience, for more information on the data standard, you can find us at www.datastandard.io, as well as on our LinkedIn and YouTube channel. Thank you so much, Chandra, for joining us today.
Thanks, Catherine. I really enjoyed speaking with you.